Good evening. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of the Nightstalker Podcast. Just a quick disclaimer, this podcast sometimes deals with adult topics like violence and religious content that may be offensive for some. Thank you for listening, my dudes, and let's just get right into it. Good evening, and this is the Nightstalker Podcast. I am your host, the Nightstalker.
I'm the Professor.
And Smokey.
And, how's it going, everyone? Hope everyone's having a fantastic March. Which I can't believe it's already March. I swore New Year's was just like 2 weeks ago.
Right?
Man.
Yeah.
Our first episode aired on Halloween last year.
It's time for that quarterly review.
How are our views doing so far?
Oh, we hit 69 views, so we're doing good.
We're up.
Wait, we did?
We hit 69 views on
You're
YouTube.
for real, that line?
All the videos together.
All of it
Okay, well,
together.
all
Not
together.
one video.
No, not one
That's
video.
what I thought too. I was about to say, uh-oh.
No, I think the Halloween episode, our first episode is at... We might have hit 20.
Maybe.
I think we've hit 20. It was like maybe 20 or 21. But our cumulative views were 69 last I saw it.
So pretty much what we're trying to say is if you support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, share, because we need views.
I mean, how else are we going to get to the merch part if we don't have anyone listening?
Right?
I mean, we got ideas. Just gotta keep following along.
Sleeveless hoodie.
Sleeveless.
Goalies?
I was thinking like baseball caps, posters,
Keychains.
Keychains would be cool.
Magnets?
Magnets would be cool.
That'd be cool
Car
too, yeah.
stickers.
Car stickers.
Mhm.
With like a phrase like, no, I'm saying I am the stalker.
I am the stalker of the night.
Probably not a good way to go. We'll think of something. We'll think of something. Speaking of thinking crazy ideas, what are some of you guys' favorite conspiracy theories?
The Mandela effect.
You-
That's
do-
a good one.
Do you believe in it or no?
I mean, there are certain parts where I'm just like, ooh, that is strange. But then there's just certain things where I'm just like, nah, I don't think so, y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I agree on that. I mean, there's some parts where, like, I think one of the most famous ones is the Bernstein Bears, or Bearstein Bears. I fully agree on the spelling. I'm like, I grew up on those books. I'm like, I know how they were spelled. That to me is weird. Another one is Interview with a Vampire. It's actually called Interview with the Vampire.
mhm.
And I'm just like, no, that's not it. I know film.
What do you think the source of this is, though? Because I feel like a lot of
That's
this
where
gets,
the
like-
conspiracy kicks in.
Yeah, I feel like a
That's
lot of
where
it's, like,
everyone
blown up.
has different opinions. I've heard that, I'm just going from what I've heard. I've heard that, our reality and this alternate reality have kind of crossed paths like this. And when they cross, that's when something goes out of whack. Something from there comes here, and something from ours goes to there. And it could be as little as spelling. It could be as
Or we
little
all
as...
just realized that we were just stupid kids and not really pronouncing shit. Nobody, like, you remember, like, when everybody would be on the playground saying something wrong?
Mhm.
Like, collectively as a whole school, like, there would be some phrase or something that was totally taken out of context, and then you would go home or go to your cousins that went to another school or a little older than you and say some shit, and they'd be like, what the hell are you got that all wrong. And you're looking at them like, no, my entire class says it like this. Everybody I know. Because that's everybody you know at that point. You're literally like, the entire world says it like this. I know for a fact.
Yeah.
And then you find out your older cousin, who has been a little more exposed than you have been. You've been saying it wrong the whole time. You know what I mean?
He speaks with experience.
He speaks from experience.
Like, look, kid.
And you speak from kindergarten. So I feel like there is a good amount of it that is like, is that. And then like, because everybody kind of this is the thing about conspiracy theories. I feel like when you look at a conspiracy theory and you want it to be true, you will find things to affirm that conspiracy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's called circular thinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually looked this up because I needed to research this topic beforehand. So circular thinking is when you believe the product or the finishing thought or the finishing theory is correct.
Mm.
And you'll do everything in your power to prove that thing as correct.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's not a correct way of thinking, but it's
a hard pattern to get out of too.
It's
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say it's a dangerous way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of
anything danger. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure a lot of tragic events in history could count down to a lot of circular thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
or just like good people that are like in other contexts would be like sound of mind. You know what I mean? Totally like just like upstanding, just like not somebody you think would have like what is the word when you have an incorrect view of the world? It starts with a D. Delusion.
Delusion.
Yeah, not somebody you would say was delusional.
yeah,
But somebody that was sound of mind and that they can get even caught in a circular pattern of thought when it comes to a certain subject. You know what I mean? And they can be so convinced on that certain subject that they
mess up.
Yeah.
What was that one play? I think it was Shakespeare, where the king was told that his son would kill him, so he sends his son away, and then because he sent his son away, the son kills him.
Stunned started to hate
Yeah.
It's not Macbeth, is it?
no,
it's not.
Is it
Macbeth.
King Lear?
I don't know. I think there was a Oedipus, right? No, it was a Greek play of Oedipus. I think.
I know he's got so many, and I'm so out of it with Shakespeare, so I can't really.
I don't think
which
that was
one.
Shakespeare though.
Oh,
I
was
think
it
that was like
Shakespeare?
Greek.
Yeah,
Oh!
Oedipus. That's
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, this could be what Shakespeare was referencing when
Yeah.
he was trying to write his shit.
There's a conspiracy theory. A lot of people think Shakespeare was. There's actually a lot about him. A lot of people say the guy who was like, I'm William Shakespeare, was not in fact the guy writing the plays.
Mm.
That he was like this, like more of a public figure to be like, I am Shakespeare, and he had a ghostwriter writing for him.
Oh shit!
That's what just fell.
So if you guys didn't hear, something fell in the background, and we don't know what it is.
Mm-mm.
The Nightstalker?
Going to get the gun.
I need to.
I said his name.
I shall take a note.
That will be getting edited out. That's funny.
Okay, here's the crazier thing. I can't find it.
What actually fell?
Yeah, everything is in place right now.
That's weird.
That's the weird part.
Crazy voodoo spirits
Okay,
we're
this is
conjuring
fine.
now. You know what I mean?
It's like every time one of our names gets dropped, it's always the Nightstalker. Is that a conspiracy?
Good shoot. In 10 years, we're going to be like, was it the Nightstalker or Stalker of the Night?
Oh my gosh, Mandela.
Mandela.
Like, we're gonna get so famous, we're gonna have knockoff Chinese products, and they're gonna, like, our names are gonna be lost in translation. And, like, instead of, Nightstalker, it'll be Stalker of the Night. Instead of the professor, it'll be the MD, or the PhD, or whatever.
Instead of smoky, it's smoked out. What is it?
Dude, I'm just so confused. I'm not scared. I'm just so confused. I'm like, what was that noise? Something fell.
You know.
Ah, man. What can I say? A lot of spooky stuff goes on here at Nightstalker Podcast.
So, back to the Shakespeare thing.
Okay, back to what I was referencing. Maybe I said Shakespeare too many times and his ghost appeared or something. I don't know. So, yeah.
Doesn't that only happen with Biggie Smalls, though?
You're right, it does. Yeah, so a lot of people theorize that he had a ghostwriter. A lot of people theorize that there were multiple people claiming to be Shakespeare. So, like, it was just the name was so popular. Maybe there was one guy who was like, I'm William Shakespeare. Maybe he died unbeknownst to people. And then someone else wrote a play, was like, I'm Shakespeare. And then, for some reason, someone else did, I'm Shakespeare. Because it's like, oh, you're Shakespeare? Let me get your play going, because
and
it's
then,
like
all the words kind of got collected under the Shakespeare name.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird theories on Shakespeare. I think I've even heard that Shakespeare might have been a woman just because of, like, they couldn't sell anything at that time. So, some chick dressed up as a man, like, I am William Shakespeare.
Wasn't that, like, common in plays, though? Like, for men to...
cross-dressing was really common in plays back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... I wouldn't be surprised.
Right? I mean, theater people are so weird, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
I would know.
We would know. Oh, man. Trying to think if there's any other really good ones that just pop out of my head.
Juicy ones? Something juicy? Epstein killed himself?
You mean...
Or did not kill himself?
He didn't. Okay, you hear from Nightstalker. Nightstalker firmly believes that Epstein did not kill himself.
Not kill himself.
Well, hello there, FBI. How are you doing today?
And then it just goes to static right now. It just cuts. And for some reason, it still gets published.
All our past uploads just disappear.
The Instagram is just deleted. The Twitter is gone.
I mean, what? We had 3 posts on Instagram and like 4 tweets.
We're
and
working on it, guys.
And like all of the tweets are just saying, "Oh, we are not posting a video today due to reason."
Promotional work is in the works.
No,
stick with us, guys. Support. Fuck with us. Patreon.
Fans only.
Raid Shadow Legends. Come on.
Brought to you by Skillshare.
Skillshare.
Bane energy drink.
Oh yeah, if we get Bang, we're good.
we are set as a podcast.
Set.
We're not looking to get rich here. We're just looking to make money. No,
we're playing. We don't fuck with the corporate sponsors. We're grassroots from the start to the end. You feel me? For the people.
Rage Against the Machine.
No.
So it's always funny. We record this in an area where we can see my back door. And
I am always scared to look at that direction.
Dude, there are times...
It's pretty dark.
It's not that. It's always the cats. It's actually kind of funny, but there will be...
Did you see them moving out there?
No, they come up to the door.
Yeah, they do.
They come up, so I'll be...
At night when I'm in here sleeping.
And even in the daytime, there was one time on the weekend I was cleaning... And I was listening to music, so now I'm singing to the music, because that's what Nightstalker does on his free time. And as soon as I come out the kitchen, and I stood like right there, and I looked, there was just an orange cat just kind of looking up, but I turned, I was like...
Do you think the government...
Here, bro?
Do you think the government are using stray cats to spy on their citizens?
You want to know an actual conspiracy theory? Pigeons aren't real.
They aren't real.
There's a theory that some pigeons are actually the NSA or whoever eavesdropping on, the people.
With like what, mechanical birds?
Yes!
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm not joking. This is a real one.
So where do they get charged at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where are the...
I don't know. I didn't look into it.
Where are the remnants of mechanical birds? No, I'm playing. What's another conspiracy that's
chemtrails?
Like something...
Chemtrails is really big.
Chemtrails, I feel like that's easily explained as like, just waste from, jet fuel runoff waste.
Oh, you want to talk about conspiracy theories? What's your opinion on jet fuel melting steel beams?
Oh my Lord, have mercy. Well, let's go here.
I'm telling you, buildings just don't fall like that.
No, yeah. I'm telling you, I've seen buildings that look like they're falling like Leaning Tower of Pisa style, like this. And then I've seen demolitions. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of demolitions via video, especially, those Las Vegas big old casinos. They'll redo a casino, right? And they'll just implode the motherfucker, boop, bop, bop, all the way to the ground,
Yeah.
That's what that looked like to me.
Because they got the money for it.
Yeah.
Speaking what isn't a conspiracy is that YouTube and Google will listen to everything we say.
You say.
That is a proven fact.
You know what I think is the craziest thing? That even I still kind of remember even the early 2000s when you get a lot of especially post 9/11 conspiracy theorist people that kind of on this whole Big Brother, they're watching kind kind of idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to 2020, they are literally watching.
Mm-hmm.
We've all accepted it. We all just go along with it. You know what I mean? There's no more like, I mean, I guess there are probably still people in the rafters like, they're watching. You know what I mean? But it's like, before it was kind of like, somebody would say they're watching and everybody would be like, nah, they're not. And but now it's like, yeah, they are. And we're just kind of like, yeah, they
like
are.
nothing we can do about it. They're just
and now
watching.
someone's like, they're watching. And kids these days say, okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like, so it's like, I think that, I just think that's crazy in and of itself that used to be a conspiracy theory. It is obviously was true. The conspiracy was rooted in some theory. And that, once the conspiracy theory got turned into like proven fact, you know what I mean? Not only did it cease to be like kind of like that like taboo topic of a conspiracy, but it kind of just got accepted. You know what I mean? Like it didn't even go from the phase of like taboo conspiracy theory to like acknowledged conspiracy to like accept. It just went from like taboo conspiracy theory to this is
life now.
This is what it is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that's crazy because, like, yeah, I think that like in a good like 10 to 15 years from now is when we're really gonna see the effects of like, oh shit, they were watching everything I did for 20 years. All my search history, everything. And now it's like we're seeing where like maybe not us as individuals, like, but like we see where it's coming back to haunt people. You know what I mean? So
safe mode isn't that safe anymore.
Oh yeah, it's like you can never really go completely off the map anymore. You know what I mean? Even if you do turn on safe mode.
Yeah, I mean, like what? I'm just using this as an example, but let's say there was someone who wanted to look up something really bad. Let's just say
how
to kill someone, child. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Do you really think going into Google safe mode is just gonna
that you
hell no?
Yeah, come on, you know
the way you keep yourself from getting caught.
Yeah, and you know, kind of what you were talking about. You've heard of the deep fakes, right?
Yeah.
The how they like put people's faces on like other people.
Yeah,
like I've seen it with like a lot of Bill Hader. Like a lot of people, like when he does impressions of people, they'll make it where he morphs into like that person, like Al Pacino or whoever. Mm. Well. A lot of people are scared that with this technology, you know, people might be framed for crimes, for whatever reason, and the video footage of like, see, like, look at this video, it's not me. They're gonna deep fake it where now it does look like
it
them.
looks so convincing.
Yeah, and let's say you got a video, like a good alibi, like, oh, I was at my whoever's birthday party, just as an example. Well, you know, now they edit it. It's not even though it's you, they put someone else's face on it, you know. So this is this is what people are scared of right now, of where this deepfake can go to, because it's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Some pretty crazy videos.
Yeah. And I thought what was crazy. This is like some of the origins I heard. Some of the origins I heard of where this was coming from was people were taking pornographic videos and trying to make it where it's like, oh, it's so-and-so's sex tape.
Oh, like some celebrity.
Yeah, it's like some celebrity, like Emma Watson, you know. Yeah. And it's like, but the technology had it where like during certain frames it would like glitch. So now, you know, the face is gone or it's just not right looking. But now it's to the point where on just some of these YouTube videos, it's like, it's, you know, it's there a whole time. It looks convincing, it looks real.
And that could be monetized. Like there's a market for these sex tapes, so like I feel like that would incentivize that type of actions to be taken. You know
could
what
be,
I mean?
Yeah, or but that's why
it might not be the government, but for some entity to then start taking the deep fake technology and like implementing it in a way that really fools the public.
So pretty much, yeah, no, that deepfake stuff is, a lot of people have been talking about that and been scared of where it can potentially lead. Speaking of government, though, this isn't too big of one, but, you know, some people theorize, and I do have to say, I think it's true, in the sense of the technology we see right now, that might be the newest cutting-edge technology, the government had 15, 20 years ago.
That's a given.
Yeah. I mean, well, some people actually wouldn't believe that, you know?
I feel like that's like you'd be a fool to think that.
No, I mean, who knows what type of technology the government really has, you know? It's crazy.
You think they got spaceships?
You mean like
spaceships we don't, like not space, like SpaceX spaceships.
I do.
Faster than light spaceships?
I do. Well, I mean, like, what was the fastest plane we had? It was the Blackbird. you know they gotta have something like that. That's
or like
highly classified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, I mean, the Blackbird, they had that, the 60s?
Yeah, that was...
You're telling me we don't have anything that
70s,
makes that look ancient these days?
Yeah.
Because, if we were going off of what's known, or, top fighter jets don't even come close to the Blackbird. So you're telling me we don't have a stealth, top-secret plane that makes that thing look like a relic?
Yeah.
Come on.
And it's if we got certain, technology that we're willing to, say, sell to other countries, right? Like fighter jets, we sell a lot of weapons to Saudi Arabia and stuff. So if we're willing to sell these weapons to Saudi Arabia and other countries, then we for sure have something better than that. You know what I mean? In the cut, you know what I mean? So it's if that's what they're showing us, then of course, and that's what they're willing to trade with people that are the other side, not necessarily enemies, but they're willing to spread, then it's they for sure have something in the rafters that we don't know about that's blowing everything out the water.
I mean, the U.S. spends the most on their military in the
crazy,
world.
Our budget.
Yeah,
I feel we are the world's police. You know what I mean? Our military budget is the military budget pretty much for the world because we police the world's seas. We are on every continent, in every country. We have a base pretty much. You could probably count on your two hands, the countries that we don't have a base in. You know what I mean? So it's what other country does that? You tell me one other country that has a base in every single country in the world. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I feel that's a huge, and that in and of itself is a huge source of a lot of the conspiracy theories that come out of the U.S. is because of how widespread our military industrial complex is and how it has to be kind of secretive. You know what I mean? Just to, you can't have a military industrial complex and just be giving out all the secrets. You know what I mean? So it's it kind of fosters this kind of what is really going on, what is really happening. You know what I mean? So I feel that's why a lot of these conspiracy theories can be rooted in theory. You know what I mean? Like the whole Google thing, and then Google was watching everything. You know what I mean? That started as a military project. You know what I mean?
And it's crazy. We've gotten a lot of things. I'm sure if you looked it up, you would find probably a list of this started out as a military fiend. Now, now we buy it for whatever. But there's a lot of fiends that were made under military, research that now maybe we have. Yeah.
GPS is a prime example.
That's a good one. Yeah. I almost said WD-40, but that's actually from NASA, believe it or not. My dad will probably be mad at me that I can't remember what it stands for.
Water displacement 40th recipe or 40th formula.
For real?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
But I feel like NASA is definitely just the super sciencey techno branch of the military.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? Either that or it's a money pit for the government to just sink a bunch of money into some burden. I do
believe that, because look how many NASA projects never got off the ground, but yet all this money was paid into it, and you're just well, wait a minute, all this money was got into it, and nothing. You know this about your government. If I'm the government and you're whatever program, whatever part of it, and you're give me X amount to get this. I want to see a result. Here's so $5 million. Really doing? Get me some results, or I'm shutting you down.
Well, Speaking of NASA, some people think the moon landing is a conspiracy.
Oh, that's one of the most popular
conspiracy. Ones. But I feel like I said,
I think it was faked. I'm just gonna throw it out.
For real?
I do think it was faked.
The physics are there, dude.
The physics are that's what I'm saying.
Do you know the race we were in with Russia at the time?
But that's where I'm saying those are conspiracies. We're talking about real science. Scientifically, it's proven that we can get to the moon. It's proven that the Earth is round. You know what I mean? We could go into theories about how we're trying to fool Russia and all this kind of crazy shit. But there's certain shit that science for sure proves. You know what I mean?
Have you guys heard the Stanley Kubrick theory? That he laid in a lot of his movies different messages about what was really going on. The two most famous ones were Eyes Wide Shut. Mm-hmm. Have you heard about that movie?
I heard that movie.
Alright, his conspiracy from Eyes Wide Shut was him saying pretty much that Hollywood is a bunch of demonic, stuff. Mm-hmm. Up for debate. Yeah. The Shining apparently was his way of saying that he helped fake the moon landing. Watch it. You can find videos on this. I am not joking.
I feel like that's kind of a...
And no, I do not...
What do you call it when somebody's kind of full of themselves? Like vain.
Pompous?
Like
arrogant?
It's kind of like an arrogant, like, I helped. Thank the moon man. I just want to throw that Easter egg out there. I am the one that is the fake. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you are that deep in with the fake, like, just put it out there and let it be real. You know what I mean? Like, don't just drop some weird Easter eggs. But I feel like the moon landing one, and like, this is like what I said, like, about the NASA being like just the experimental wing of the military. Like, a lot of our technologies, I feel like, come from the military. And I feel like NASA is kind of that, like, where the cutting edge scientific, as far as science and like, you know what I mean? Not so much field tested, but like stuff that's more like in theory, stuff that we're trying to like work on for the future, all comes from NASA, like lasers, GPS type stuff, like all those kind of technologies come from NASA. And that's why I feel like the moon landings and stuff and like all those missions were maybe not so much face value. Maybe our government wasn't necessarily doing what they were saying they were doing as far as like, we're just going to the moon for science. You know what I mean? But they were sinking money into it for the advancement of their military technology. You know what I mean? For them to get ahead of Russia.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is why that theory I feel like is more so true than the theory that we just never went to the moon. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like the idea that we just never went to the moon and that whole thing was faked and all these moon missions were just kind of faked would be more harder to do and actually like keep everybody that's involved, you know what I mean?
Anyone involved, like
anybody from being able to say like, but we just didn't like they said that this was what we were doing today, but we didn't really do that today. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily like did we not go to the moon, but like they said we were prepping for this, but we never prepped for that. And to do the moon landing, the prepping needed to be done, but we never prepped. You know, I feel like that. Like they say, like that would be exposed a lot sooner than like saying somebody at the top saying like the whole thing was faked. You know, it would be somebody in the middle towards the bottom saying like, okay, but like you're saying we went to the moon, but we never even brought the fuel to the shit. You know what I mean? My job is to drive the truck that brings the jet fuel to the space station.
I got paid $4 an hour.
Yeah, I got paid. I never dropped off any fuel. I feel like that would come out, and that would be what kind of would affirm to me that the moon landing was fake. Would be somebody saying that per se, but that has never happened. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like the moon landing conspiracy is just like. That's why I feel like the moon landing conspiracy is like. It is a conspiracy that is rooted in the idea that the military is doing all this secret shit that we have no idea about. You know what I mean? That's why, like I said, like the military, our military industrial complex is just so vast and big that like there's so much coming out of it that's where I feel like the source of a lot of these theories come from. It's like, what is our military really doing? What is our government really doing as far as like how they police and govern, you know what I mean, internationally?
And, you know, on top we're talking about government and that time frame, you know, a lot of people say JFK assassinated by our own government.
Oh, yeah, I believe that theory for sure. I think I can, because I feel like when it comes to that one, who else would be able to get close enough to our own president like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it have to be whoever, you know.
Like, you got to think about when the president moves.
The country moves.
When the president moves, literally mountains will move for that man. You know what I mean? So it's like that man was not just driving in that convertible car, just like willy nilly down the road. Like everything was shut down around him, so he could do that move. You know what I mean? That little parade run. So it's like everything was shut down around him by this government force, you know what I mean? So that they can bang Bob in the back of the head.
Well, do you guys know it's Lee Harvey Oswald? That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Did they ever say what his actual reason?
His motive?
Yeah. Well,
he was just supposedly some like
crazy conspiracist guy,
and that's how I would, if I needed a fall man, he would definitely have to be crazy. You know what I mean? He would have to be irrational so that anything he would say I would be able to refute by saying, well, he's crazy, he's mentally insane.
And wasn't he assassinated on
he
his
was
way to
killed
trial?
out right before his trial. Somebody ran up and shot him.
Like, odd timing, huh? You know?
Let's get rid of him before he
just like, wasn't John Wilkes Booth, like,
I call that another Epstein. I call that the pre-Epstein. That
the
is
pre-Epstein.
the original Epstein.
Wasn't John Wilkes Booth also, like... Was he captured alive after shooting Lincoln? Or did they kill him in the process?
I think he got killed in the process of being detained.
You know what? You're right. Because I remember now reading this one thing. Yeah, he...
Like, in the process of them getting him, they were so...
There was a firefight or something.
Yeah, something happened.
Yeah.
They just killed him. But, the Lincoln is that's another one where it's like, well, that one I can say I don't necessarily know because the times
it's
were
so far back in time.
It was so far back in time that, like,
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily reference that one because any source that I would be drawing from would be, like, such an indirect source. You know what I mean? But, like, the sources that I would be drawing from, like, for, say, the Kennedy assassination, like, we have pictures, you know what I mean? We have videos. So it's like we have a lot more to draw on when it comes to that event. So, like, when looking at that event, I feel like you could look at it a different way when comparing that assassination to the assassination of Lincoln. So, like, when we're looking at the assassination of Kennedy and just, like you said, where the country was at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there were a lot more factors that we could factor into, like, why this was, like, a lot more of a bigger instant than just some crazed maniac on the top of some random roof that got the perfect shot lined up so he could kill the president, something that, like, we literally had whole countries trying to do that could not even get their own little secret man over here to just be in the perfect spot to shoot our president. You know what I mean? There's like, you don't think there's countries that would even get somebody that don't even look like that origin countries, native people to just come over here and, like, do some job like that? You know what I mean? Like, but, like, this crazed random guy did it, like... Come on now. Like, the U.S. has toppled many governments. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They know what they're doing when it comes to regime changes and stuff like that. And I feel like the JFK assassination was like, that was like a regime change. You know what I mean? Like a U.S. Western regime change. So it had to be different than, like, you know, some guerrilla fighters. But, like... Yeah.
And, you know, people also think because of her ties to him that Monroe was assassinated. Have you ever heard about Marilyn Monroe's, like, actual death?
But I've heard that it's kind of like she kind of got fucked over by the whole, like, system.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, me, I'm into, like, classic films and stuff. I like Marilyn Monroe. And I might get some of these details wrong. I'm not a historian. It's been a while. But, you know, Marilyn Monroe, that night she died, she,
How did she die too, as well?
I think it's considered an overdose.
Okay. Yeah, overdose on barbiturates.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, pills.
So she overdosed, and either a friend or a housemaid, someone found her, and apparently the doctor who came in on site, I forget if he was somehow, like, related to her in sense of profession, like he was her psychologist or whatever. Apparently, she was still alive. She was, like, unconscious but alive, and he gave her something before the doctors arrived. And then when they got there, she was dead. This is, like, in files, and a few people have come out who were there. There was a few people there with her that, like, when they found her. It was, like, a maid, like, a friend of hers, and that guy. And the guy was like, what are you giving her? And he's like, oh, something to, like, help her out, because she might have been coming to or something. I forget the details. It's very weird the night she died, what went down. It wasn't just as simple as she OD'd, she was on the ground, she was dead. It was like, apparently she was coming back too, and this guy gave her something, and the guy was like, well, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm so-and-so.
Just like a random physician or something?
Something.
Was she like a regular barbiturate user?
I think so.
Yes.
Because I feel like this is when you find the overdoses that are, like, fake, this is how you could tell a faked overdose. Usually overdoses will happen either A, when, like, it's, like, something turmoil going on in the person's life. Family member dies or something. Or they have been incarcerated for some reason, and their tolerance has gone down so low that when they get out and they use again, that they die. But you usually you don't find somebody that uses drugs, as an experienced drug user, you doing their daily, like, usual thing, just up an overdose. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they know they have a routine that they kind of go through. They know how they use their drugs and stuff. So it's like, kind of like, why would they just up an overdose? You know what I mean? Like, when they've been using for this long span of time and there was no real reason behind them doing any, like, okay, I could see if they were a drug user for this amount of time and then somebody close to them died, and then they overdosed because they were probably in a state that, you know what I mean, where they were not making the same type of decisions that they would normally make. But it's like, with somebody like Marilyn Monroe, it's like she was probably using this substance for a while, you know what I mean? So like, what was going on that for her to like either A, have overdosed for real, or like what was going on for them to have to knock her off?
Well, you know what's funny? A lot of people at that time, and people now would probably say, "Oh, well, she was really sad. Like her career." A lot of people were saying her career was in jeopardy because I think a movie she was doing got canceled.
Well, I heard she was like kind of like as far as like she was a movie star, but I also heard that she was like passed around amongst a lot of like really high-powered people. You know what I mean? And
well,
that kind of led to her being depressed because she was kind of used, but that also because she was like the sexual partner of a lot of these high-powered people, that she had a lot of information that like a lot of people might not want her to be knowledgeable about. You know what I mean? So that might be a reason why somebody might want to get her up out of there. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, that be the reason, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, now you just slept with such and such, but they're going through some divorce, or something big going on in this person's life to where they know that they cannot have you going out with whatever you're about to say, or any information that you might have.
Yeah.
That might be a reason for somebody to want to...
Gotta trim the loose ends.
Trim some loose ends. Send in some fake physician, you know what I mean, to slip or something that might react with the drugs that she's already doing, because they know that she's like, this is the drug she's using, so if we mix this in with it, then she's going to go into some type of overdose, and
or like some extra effect that comes from mixing drugs.
Yeah, that she wasn't used to, because that's not how, because, you know what I mean, because she wasn't taking that purposely. But yeah, I feel like when you got a lot of these conspiracies where it could be like, I do think that's a huge chunk of conspiracies. It's like that overdose, but was it an overdose kind of conspiracy? Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you got it, like when you got these people that kind of are experienced drug users and they kind of just up and overdose out of nowhere, I do think that can kind of be kind of fishy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And also, you know, just to end it on Marilyn, just, you know, a lot of people... So, yeah, she was sad, obviously. So, part of her theme was, you know, she was seen as just this blonde bombshell. And part of what made her sad was she didn't want people just to see her for her looks. You know? She spent time, was it with her husband? Or I think there was a reporter who lived with her for like a week. He was doing a story on her. And at one point, they were going out in public, and people were starting to come up, and she turned to him. She was like, do you want to see Norma Jean, or do you want to see Marilyn Monroe?
Oh, like she had two different...
She had like two different kind of... Like when she was Marilyn Monroe, you know, she was kind of, you know, flirty, you know. But, you know, as herself, you know, Norma Jean, she was a lot more reserved, a lot more quiet. But another part, you know, a lot of people said, well, her career at that time was in turmoil. But if you look back on it, from what records show, she actually had picture deals lined up. If anything, her career was about to be on the up. She had, like, a few good movies lined up that obviously she died before doing. So her career wasn't in jeopardy.
And that might have put her in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Where she might have been asked questions about these past sexual partners. That
exactly.
She had,
potentially. I mean? The president.
The president. You know what I mean? And to jump off of the Marilyn Monroe, do you think that Michael Jackson, the conspiracy that Michael Jackson was killed because he was about to buy...
Oh, I was about to...
He was about to buy some huge movie, you know what I mean? Some TV company or something.
There's another theory about Michael Jackson you might find really interesting.
He had the Beatles catalog.
He has he outbid them on it. But there's another. I haven't heard that one. I'm not surprised by it though. But have you heard this one? You know how back in the 80s there was that whole his hair caught on fire for the Pepsi commercial? So people say after that
he got Mandela'd?
No. That's when this double came in to be Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's not really him.
And then there was this video showing this guy talking about, he was like a burn victim. He was talking about whatever. So he's disfigured, of course, because he had burned. He talks just like Michael Jackson, and everyone's like,
"That's him."
A lot. Well, I don't know. I haven't like sat down and really tried to wrap my head around it. I kind of have better things to do. But a lot of people are like, "Dude, that's Michael Jackson." Like they just switched him out because he got burned so horribly. They had to switch him out for someone else to carry it on. But all the recordings and stuff, and that's why it's like all of these unreleased songs he had.
I mean, that's not uncommon.
I know it's not uncommon.
Every
I'm not
artist
going to
has.
say just because an art like Tupac. I think Tupac's dead, but he had so many unreleased fiends, and people are like, "Well, is he really dead?" I'm like, "No."
I feel like that's like a common thing because a lot of artists will go in and make music that doesn't get released or it doesn't get cleared by their label because they have label deals to where they can't just release music whenever they can't just put music out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's why you fear pretty much every big artist after they die. There's always some catalog of unreleased music that they have that either their label is trying to get a hold of or people close to that artist are trying to get a hold of and then either promote or do whatever with. I did like I said with Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson, definitely an experienced drug user. You know what I mean? Like not using anything that he hadn't played with before. You know what I mean?
Didn't his physician?
On-site physician.
Didn't he take the fall? Like, wasn't he?
Well,
charged
it was
with
like
something?
he was kind of like that. Was the whole weird thing? It was kind of like okay, he had this on-site. It's pretty much like everything should have been in place for him not to overdose.
Yeah,
it's like you got an on-site physician. You're using, you're using drugs that you have a tolerance to. You know, and you know how to use these drugs. It's not like you don't know what you're doing, and you got an on-site physician. That's like with the Marilyn Monroe. It's like how much work, like what could it's straight negligence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That actually is like straight up negligence.
So it's like how much of that negligence is like real negligence, and like how much of it might be purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like. You know, and when you're dealing with people with like that much like money, you know what I mean? Especially with the Michael Jackson one. I can't say about the Marilyn Monroe because I don't know how financially tied she was, but I know with Michael Jackson, like he was definitely financially up there.
Well, a lot of people say he was about to have a comeback. He was about to have that tour.
He was doing tours. Yeah, he was about to get back on tour. And stuff.
And there was videos of him practicing, and everyone's like, "Dude, look how he's dancing. He's got it."
He didn't look like somebody that
was
like. He didn't look like somebody that was like that, like typical like I'm at the end. I'm just so about to just kill myself with drugs. You know what I mean? Type idea. Somebody that's like a shut-in's not doing anything, and then it's just like it didn't seem like that's what he was doing. So why did he just up and die?
Well, the funny thing is what a lot of people kind of talk about is he was broke, and that's what the This Is It tour was supposed to be, his comeback to pay off these debts. Well, after he died, obviously, like all artists now, his music's valuable. Everyone's listening to his music now, so now his estate,
he's a surgeon. It
got all paid off after his death because everyone started buying his stuff again. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I wonder."
How broke can Michael Jackson ever really be, though? You know what I mean? Let's be real.
I know. Well, Neverland.
He made.
Well, Neverland Ranch was expensive. Before we get off this, Neverland Ranch was like $1 million a day to operate, or something crazy like that.
I don't think we even have an inclination of how really famous Michael Jackson was, though, as an artist. You know what I mean? Like we will never see a Michael Jackson type artist in our lifetime. I don't think. You know what I mean?
No, I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think how broke can somebody like that really get. That's like saying the Beatles would go broke. You know what I mean? Like, if the Beatles will go broke, it's because of, like, the way they spent their money. You know what I mean? Like, but they would always have money coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, let's look at how Michael Jackson spent his money. Definitely did it right. You know what I mean? Like, had his own ranch and stuff. Like, he didn't finance his life in a way like a lot of other artists do, where they kind of run out of steam and then they have nothing to live on. You know what I mean? Like
like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
You guys heard how he bought an island? That's why he does all these dumb movies. Is because he like bought an island and it like made him broke.
Trying to pay it off.
Yeah. And it's like, what are you doing?
Like, I don't think that Michael Jackson was in the realm of somebody like that is struggling and that didn't set their finances up in order to be stable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For life.
You know who will never go broke? I will be surprised if she does. Kylie Jenner.
Oh, the whole Kardashian clan?
Pretty much the whole clan. If I ever found out one of them went broke, I'd be like, what did you do? Like, how?
Yeah.
They ran out of wood to keep their
ran out of baby souls to sell for youth. Ran out of baby blood to drink to keep us young.
I was gonna say, we've been on death and stuff here for a while. How about some of these supernatural conspiracies? Bigfoot?
I feel like a lot of those are just like Bigfoot. I don't think Bigfoot is possibly real. Like, we would have had seen him or something by now. You know what I mean?
Especially since drones are now
Drones
commercial.
now too. Come on now, like we would have. I feel like there's no more, and it's not like the giant squid, like the oceans. Like, I can understand why the giant squid may be real, but we've never seen him. You know what I mean? Because the oceans are unexplored.
Yeah, and they're so deep.
And
like,
they're deep.
You
but
know,
with land, and you got a land mammal. Land mammals are going to leave behind waste and signs of having been there. You know what I mean? There's no way we wouldn't have not seen him by now.
If there's any hunters listening to this podcast right now, you go out, you hunt deer or whatever, and you've come across a Bigfoot track or car or whatever, please mail us in. The Night Stalker?
He's convinced, and he needs some proof.
Fucking name drop this episode.
My man.
I'm just saying, if we find out anything about Bigfoot, it's not gonna be the so-called, I'm a supernatural, hunter, or I'm a Bigfoot enthusiast. It's gonna be someone who just randomly comes into contact, and it's probably gonna be someone like a hunter. You're on a hunting trip. You're tracking something.
Don't you think they would have been found by now, though?
Unless it's something that I don't know, like that's why I would want to hear
some track, some type of some feces, some tooth, some claw, some fur, something. You know what I mean? We find evidence of ancient animals on the daily. Bones and all kind and fossilized.
We find ancient plants on the daily.
You know what I mean? Straight up, like we find fossilized plants, but we can't find a sign of something that is supposedly is still alive.
Plants can't even move.
I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, if we can find these crazy things, if we have people that are willing to go that deep into the jungles to find these crazy specimens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've never even seen the Bigfoot. I don't think so, y'all.
Kylie Jenner was made the richest, quote unquote, self-made millionaire, through other people's money, through Instagram and
billionaire,
promotions.
Yeah, billionaire and promotions. And we can't fund a proper search for
find a Bigfoot.
Kylie Jenner, if you're listening to this, take some of that money and fund a Bigfoot operation. Because honestly, if anyone's gonna pay for it and probably get results, it's you.
No, but I feel like with when you're talking about anything that we're talking a land mammal or some type of land animal or whatever you want to talk about, as far as a Bigfoot or some type of Sasquatch or some shit like that, I definitely think we would have seen it by now or found some type of evidence of it. Then when we're talking about giant squids, the Kraken, whatever you want to call that, I mean, we do have some videos right now, as of late, because of technology and how better technology have gotten. There are videos now of giant squids. Mm-hmm. We don't have any body. I understand why we don't have bodies or any type of physical evidence, because it would sink to the bottom of the sea,
or get eaten. Yeah,
or get eaten. And that bottom of the sea, where it would if it didn't get eaten, where it would be is exactly where we have the most trouble seeing. You know what I mean? Course. So it's that's understandable why we haven't been able to necessarily find some of these crazy aquatic animals, you know what I mean? But when it comes to a Bigfoot or anything in land or in the sky, I feel like we would have definitely had to have seen it by now.
We have the best searchlight in the world, on our side
that can
for half the entire fucking
day.
It's called the sun. Everything that the sun touches, you can see.
Yeah, we would have seen that by now.
You know how people claim that Megalodon is still around and stuff like that, and they've quote unquote have seen it. What do you think? You think those people are cuckoo, or do you think
cuckoo? You just saw a big shark.
I think megalodons exist in deep backyard pools. I'm scared of fucking deep water. I will never
water where you can't see the bottom.
Have you heard of submarine? Coast of South Africa, I think it is. There was this, from a drone or a satellite, they saw there's this great white shark called submarine, because unlike other great whites that are 15 feet, 17 feet, this guy is 35 feet.
Yeah, it's probably a big old pregnant female.
No, it's still around.
It's probably a pregnant female.
And they named it Submarine.
Oh, they still see it. It's still
yeah. It's a famous
I
one.
just saw something that they were talking about the biggest great white they just recently saw, and it was like a huge pregnant female, and it was like over 30 feet, 35 feet.
Could be another one. Great whites are everywhere.
Mostly these big great whites are usually always huge pregnant females. Like, you don't find them. The males get big, but they won't get.
Well, apparently, I think they had evidence that this guy was a male, and he was like 35 feet. And they called him Submarine, and his shadow was visible from like a satellite way up in the air, in the ocean. Because, he's just swimming along. They're like, what is that? Yeah, you can look it up. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm...
You said, don't quote me, motherfucker. I don't want to put my money down on it,
Just like what Easy said. But as for Megalodon, because Megalodon's supposed to be like a 50-foot, 65-foot shark. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, I just feel like so many people want it to be real that's why the hype gets there. Like, oh, I've seen it.
That's the thing about conspiracy theories. It's like, how much of it is like, okay, we're really invested in trying to figure out this conspiracy theory, and how much of it is like, I'm trying to find any evidence to affirm or disprove this subject just so that it makes sense and aligns with whatever I already believe.
Circular thinking. It always goes back around like a circle.
Circular thinking.
So many people are afraid of sharks. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be. I mean, like, I wouldn't want to be on some lifeboat and I just see a bunch of fins pop up. But, like, what I think is scarier than sharks? Hippos.
Hippos are confirmed to kill more people than sharks.
Confirmed, yeah. One of the most dangerous animals.
Dude, they are dangerous. Not only can they, like, bite you in half, they'll drown you. Mm-hmm. And they get a good running speed.
Hippos are so dense, they can run underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even think a rhino can do that. And, obviously a rhino is a rhino, but no, these hippos are crazy. Also, like, have you seen the video? I don't know why. Just my random YouTube recommendations. At this zoo, they give this hippo, I forgot its name. They give it a watermelon, and it'll just, as soon as it just goes, it just crushes it, and one go just.
I mean, I've seen women crush watermelons with their thighs before.
All right, Professor, what's your thoughts on that? I need to know right now.
What's my thoughts on that?
You trying to get in between those? I would. Shoot. I'm in those. Okay, I'm looking at this shark thing. I think the submarine shark is like a legend. It's like a fisherman's tale.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a fisherman's tale? I heard it was like an actual thing.
It's a fisherman's tale. It's a tale of a South African.
There was a
South Africa, 35-foot long great white shark.
There was a documentary on it.
I think it could be real.
On the Discovery Channel.
It could be, but like it's not a firm.
Confirmed.
It's
Alright, I thought someone was telling me about it. And I thought it was confirmed. That was my bad.
It's like confirmed by whoever you want to believe. Like
I'll retire from the podcast now.
Whoever's authority you want to put weight on, you know what I mean? If you believe that fisherman, he says he saw 35-foot shark.
I mean, he could have.
Good have.
You know what? I wonder what type of conspiracy in terms of like.
But I don't like how the Discovery Channel. My bad. I'll cut you off before we leave the shark thing. Though. Okay. I don't like how the Discovery Channel piped up the whole Megalodon thing. Way more like. I think the Megalodon. It kind of it pushed the Megalodon in a way that kind of like almost like. Furthermore, pushed me to disbelieve in like the Sasquatch because it was almost like they were wanting it to be so real. Like trying to find evidence of the Megalodon so hard to make it be real for the ratings or whatever. Yeah. That it made it so apparently obvious that this is not real. Or not that it was never real, but that like this isn't what they're making it out to be. That
it's not like there's an actual Megalodon
still out there, yes. And
if it was found, it wouldn't be from the Discovery Channel going out on boats, like with their cameras, like where is it?
If there was a Megalodon out there, we could probably see the blood trail in space.
Some evidence of it, you know what I mean?
I mean, a 65-foot shark, that thing would be taken down like...
huge animals.
Whales.
Yeah, like orcas and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You would see.
So you'd be
whale
finding
kills.
like whale remains just split in half
yeah.
or something.
Or like washed up on shore, like a mauled fin or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see these when you see like even other sharks. You see large like kills, like it's a killed animal. Then the other sharks come and feed off. But what I'm saying is like, when I was watching these Megalodon shows on Discovery, like Shark Week Discovery Channel, it was just making it so apparently obvious to me that these like...
It's for ratings.
It's for ratings, and it's just for like either A, you have people that are like feeding into it because they know that there's some type of prestige around like being the one to have found this animal, or you have people that just want it to be so real that they're willing to look for the evidence and already pre-believe that it's real. You know what I mean? And like they're going into trying to find the evidence thinking that it's real rather than trying to prove that it's real. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to like find the evidence that I already know is out there rather than I'm trying to really find evidence. You know what I mean? And I feel like that kind of really just showed me like, okay, yeah, this really is making me feel like, okay, yeah, Loch Ness fake, Sasquatch, Bigfoot fake. Like any type of like these like kind of these ancient animals that are still kind of out there from long ago that are huge because of
aliens.
The aliens is even, but like even with the aliens, it kind of made me think like, well, with the aliens, like we would have, there would be different type of like, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be so like, are there aliens? You know what I mean? Like we would have come in contact with them in a way that would have completely affirmed like there are aliens. There's this other life forms out there and they're just there. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be this whole mysterious like, and also I feel like if aliens were coming, they would come and interact with us in a way that will be, I think, plainly obvious to the masses. You know what I mean? Like,
what if they shapeshift and they're just among us?
Well, like, look, I don't think that an alien. When humans go to study chimpanzees, do we think we need to shapeshift? No, we just go and study the chimps because we're interested in them. But we just go and study them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this whole like thing. Like the way you're making it is like. We don't go into the chimps, we don't go into the chimps world and think that we need to keep ourselves secret from the society of the chimps. We can't have the chimps as a society figure out that we're studying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't look. So why do you think an advanced aliens would kind of look at it like that? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, like, the only thing I would have to say to that would be you have us studying chimps, and you know, chimps are intelligent, but you know, obviously they're not building what we're building. Mm-hmm. So we view ourselves as intellectually superior for obvious reasons. Yeah. As for aliens, they might, even though they might think they're superior to us, we're still rational thinking beings.
But you don't think if they're making space travel, they would be superior?
Oh, those, I'm not
they
saying,
would be to us, but we are the chimps.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? But straight up.
But you know, does a chimp look at you and like, I don't know, like.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like the dynamics between the chimp and the human proved to me that like the dynamics between the alien and the person are not really there because they don't present themselves in a way that is like plainly obvious.
When we study chimps, we try to make it so that we're not obviously watching them and they can behave as they usually do in nature. Mm. What if humans as a race are like trained to just ignore aliens? And so we don't
But then
see
you also
them,
have,
but
before we did that, the very early studying of chimps was actually like a person going in and living with the chimps. Like it required them to have that understanding of how the chimps worked first, for them to then come in and operate in a way to be unseen. You have to first understand how they live and operate. And that requires you to actually interact with them and be in their world, not from afar. You know what I mean? In this whole unseen, but you know what I mean? Like it requires for you to like fully immerse yourselves in. And I feel like the first contact would literally be like the aliens come and they plainly present themselves, you know what I mean, in some type of way. I don't think whether it be like the ship just comes and we're all looking at the ship, but I feel like they will plainly present themselves in a way that we are here. We might not, and because they have space travel and though they would be so advanced, they would necessarily, like when we go to study the chimps in our world, when we study chimps in the jungle, we go into it armed because we're in their world, you know what I mean? And they could easily overpower us in their world. But we have the tools and the means, and we go into it knowing that we have the means to take them out, you know what I mean? So we can study them in a way that we go in, you know what I mean? We don't kind of go into the jungle and make ourselves totally unseen and unknown, and if a chimp sees us, we kind of have to cover it up and make it so that chimp can't go back and tell the other chimps I saw something weird, you know what I mean? We don't look at it like that because we know we got the gun, you know what I mean? I feel like the aliens would come and they would make themselves plainly known to us, but they would know in their heads that anything these humans, they can't even come back to where we are. You know what I mean? So, like, there's no point in us being so secretive. Why do we have to, like, run around and be so secretive? They can't even come find us. You know what I mean? We come look at them and then dip. Just like when humans study chimps, we come look at them in the jungle and then we dip back to cities. You know what I mean? And when we're ready, we just encroach on their lands, cut the trees down, and then we deal with them how we deal with them then. You know what I mean? But, like, I feel as with aliens, it wouldn't be like this whole thing that, like, the way it is. You know what I mean? I feel like when first contact is actually made, it will be an event that kind of happens, and it will be an event that happens, and then we will go forward from that, however we go forward. But I don't think that it has happened already, or if it has happened, it's happened in a way that, like, oh, there's, like, secret governments that are in full contact with aliens and they're talking to aliens, but we just don't know type shit. You know what I mean? If anything, I feel like the governments are trying their hardest to, like, find aliens or just understand the space world, you know what I mean? However they want to understand it. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the whole alien thing. That's, like, a weird one for me. Because, like, for me to think that there are aliens that, like, came and, like, left a ship for us to be experimenting on, and, like, that there's some, like, alien ships that we have and we're experimenting on, but nobody's ever seen none. It's like, come on now. You know what I mean? Like, nothing.
But, like, what if they like, they presented themselves during a time where we couldn't create, like, evidence. Like, like, before written history.
Yeah. I think that could possibly be a possibility. Right? Mm-hmm. But if that event happened, I feel like in this event, an event that happened, why didn't it happen again? Why didn't they come in the time that we could record history?
Like you said, because they've presented themselves, they've lived among us, and then now they backed off.
And they're fine with that.
Now they're just
I could understand
us
that
from afar.
I could understand that. I can understand if they came, and that's why we got all these hieroglyphs of aliens and weird shit, you know what I mean? And that it might have been a well-known thing back then, and that it kind of got forgotten about, you know what I mean? And then now we just don't think because, you know, the time guy is long ago and the time got forgotten. So we just don't think that they're around like they are now. But if it were to be like that, I definitely do think they would have came. It would have been an event that everybody would have seen, and that's why it's all in the hieroglyphs. It would have been something that the entire Egyptian culture or whatever society, Sumerian, whatever culture you think interacted with aliens, everybody in that culture, I think, would have known that this is what... They might not have perceived it as aliens, per se, but they would have known that this is something. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been something that is, like, secretive, I think. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think when you look at, like, the Egyptian shit, if you want to say that those were aliens that they were interacting with, and that's your explanation for the pyramids, I think that's why it's all in all the hieroglyphs. Like, it's not like some hidden thing that we found some secret scroll, and we opened up the one scroll and saw the alien. It's like... That's it. Oh, whoa. And then it's over there, and then it's over there, and then it's over there. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? You got all these different type of things. I don't know how much of that is me looking into it, thinking that they're aliens.
Yeah, circular thinking.
You know what I mean? Then it's like, how much of it is it circular thinking? Or how much of it is like, okay, it might have actually been that. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. If that is how it was, though, I feel like that would be my explanation for aliens. Would be like, they came, they interacted with us. It was a well-known thing that they were interacting with us, for that society that they were interacting with us. It was in whatever type of, however they perceived it, you know what I mean, where they perceived it as gods or whatever. They would have recorded it like that, you know what I mean? It's like we were interacting with these type of things, and that would have been that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would have been a continuous connection, you know, like we're talking with aliens all the time. Or like they're talking with our upper echelons of our rich people, or you know what I mean, like, because I feel like if they were doing that, I don't know, like, you know what I mean,
someone must have slipped something,
something, you guys, somebody would have slipped some type of got him, you know what I mean, like, not even one of these, like one of them glasses cams, you feel me, like, I don't know. Shoot, some part of me though, like, cause like I being somebody that was like heavy into like just like looking into things. Part of me wants to believe in aliens because like the scientific part of me wants to say that like, okay, well there's life here, so there must be life elsewhere. You know what I mean? Part of me wants to believe that just so that because it affirms how life developed here, it would affirm, you know what I mean, that it could happen elsewhere. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that idea, wanting that to be true, would be the circular thinking that we're talking about. You know what I mean? Or if that is just if that's a rational way of thinking. You know what I mean? Or if it's irrational to think that there's aliens.
Well, humans are irrational beings. Like,
you know? So it's like, shit, I don't know what to think.
It's like we view society as like, oh, it's normal to love one person, but it's abnormal to love many people at the same time, you know?
But we're all loving many people at the same time.
But like in nature, like animals, like a lot of animals mate with like different partners all the time. That's just survival. But like when humans do it, it's like, oh, that's a really big taboo.
It's like we're in like this like self-denial type thing. You know what I mean? It's like we're in our own little circular thought, you know, as far as how we really are. You know what I mean? So it's like it makes it hard to even identify the aliens because it's like, fuck, I don't even know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean?
Not to play devil's advocate or anything, but like aren't there some animals that do mate for life besides us, like penguins and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like they do that. I've heard that, and I've heard it as being said as like, this is a case of like, this is proof that monogamy. But I feel like the reason they do that is a survival tactic. They do that because there are a limited amount of partners, and within these limited amount of partners, they feel that if they choose a consistent life partner, that will be for the betterment of the survival of their children. You know what I mean? They're not doing that because they think monogamy is the way. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, I guess you can argue that marriage, even with us, you know,
it's not really
humans, rational. It's to preserve your lineage. You know, like if you got married, Smokey, you probably have a kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think I could have a kid without being married. Don't you think?
Well, I mean, you could.
Or I'm not saying you can't.
I think you could. I think it's also possible to successfully raise a child without marriage. I think also, this is my theory. I think the idea of marriage comes from the idea that men are possessive. They want to put their name on things. You know what I mean? I think the idea that village raises a child is raised by a village, right? I think if you look at some cultures, especially when you go to Asian cultures and a lot of sub-Saharan African cultures, you got cultures where the women will sleep with multiple men, the men will sleep with multiple women, and when children are born, they're born under the assumption that this could be your child. So why don't you raise it like it could be your child? It might not be, but it's the village's child. It's somebody in this village's child. It could be yours. So raise it like it's your child. And in the community, if you're raising every child like it's your child, you're going to raise a strong community. You think?
I see.
Nobody's going to get left out. But if you have men that are saying, this is my child, that child over there, I'm not going to care for because I don't think it's mine. That's where I think a lot of like, okay, now I want to marry a woman that is pure, a virgin, because I don't want her to possibly have had a kid from some other man. That's where that really comes from. Let's be real. The whole women that's why the woman has to be a virgin, really. The man doesn't really have to be a virgin, per se. It's really the woman that has to be a virgin. It's because the man doesn't want to have thought that woman could produce a child with some other man. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that if you look at family building and kind of family building in a way that like we're building these families as a community more so than like I am a man and trying to build my house and my house has to be what my house is. It's like my house is part of the community. So whatever my house is the community. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like if you look at it in that way, it's definitely possible to have a child with a woman. It would have to be a woman in your community. You know what I mean? It couldn't just be some random fling. That's the thing. And I feel like if you had, if not every guy was trying to push this whole, like, I need to, me being a man is based on, like, how I interact with women. If that wasn't the idea, then it wouldn't kind of make people think that they have to, you know what I mean? that these rules are the way they have to be. You know what I mean? Like, I think that kind of makes it to where, like, you think that you can't possibly raise a child and have it be successful if it's not yours. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that that's possible?
You were saying a lot.
I went pretty deep on that one. I was just, it's a little thing I've thought about before. You know what I mean? What I'd be thinking, like, okay, well, like, monogamy is something that's kind of pushed as like, this is how you build strong ties and strong families through monogamy. You know what I mean? That's kind of the Western view of things.
The like, nuclear family.
Not so much the nuclear family. I really think it's a Western view of how, like, I don't even think it's a nuclear family. Let me tell you why.
Well, that's how the West views it.
The West views it. I don't think it's a nuclear family because when you look at Eastern cultures, a nuclear family is the mom, the grandmother, the entire family lives in one home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that fosters community living. You know what I mean? Those are the communities where you have these type of open relationships. You know what I mean? In the West, it's thought that when you're a man, you turn 18, you're supposed to get the fuck out. You know what I mean? And go do it, conquest the world on your own. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to do it with the help of your family because that would make you less of a man in the Western society, in the eyes of the Western society. You know what I mean? So I feel like that pushes you then have to go out there and in order to get the female, you got to get her, marry her, and that's how you're seeing it as how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's only encouraged because you're kind of out there you're kind of supposed to be like, it doesn't foster community living. You know what I mean? Because
mm-hmm.
if you were in a community and you were said, no, I'm staying home with my family, so I'm going to find a woman that's in my community. And if I'm sleeping with multiple women that are in my community, but I'm not necessarily sleeping with them in a way that's like, I'm conquering this female and then I'm gone. You know what I mean? I'm sleeping with them because that sexual connection or whatever it is what it is. But this girl stays around and she's in my community, so I don't do her dirty. You know what I mean? And she gets pregnant, she has a kid. The kid gets raised by the community. You know what I mean? It's not so much a taboo thing like, oh, she got pregnant, who's the baby daddy? Because the only person that would be worried about if they're the baby daddy or not is the baby daddy that's trying to lay his claim on the child. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you don't have that whole idea that I need to lay claim on things or like, my success as a man is labeled on how many things I put my name on. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's where a lot of it comes from is like, as a man, your success is labeled by my name is on this house. My name is on this car. My name is on this wife. My name are on these children. What else? My name's on this business. You know what I mean? These are the things that we as men kind of look at as like, that's how you label yourself as successful. And I feel like that's why a lot of these things kind of like, you know what I mean? A lot of these things can be seen as good things, but can be also negatives too. You know what I mean? I like to look at everything as also being like yin and yang. You know what I mean? Positives, negatives. You know, so it's like monogamy. I think it's like positive. It works. It's good. That nuclear family that you're talking about, it works. You know what I mean? So it's like, but if we feed into that too strong, I feel like it leaves out a lot of people. Like my mom. You know what I mean? She would get left out in that idea that like, can she be a successful parent? You know what I mean? Because she doesn't have the man in her life. You know what I mean? Some people would say no. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's reasons for both to be possible. You know what I mean? All right, I'm done. Yeah,
that was a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So, what do you guys think of New World Order?
New World Order. Look, this is my thing with the New World Order. I think there absolutely got to be rich people up on top. There got to be. You know what I mean? Just in the hierarchy of things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's always an elite class.
There's always an elite class. But how much of that is... Well, I do believe that the rich would not want to be known. You know what I mean? If you were smart about it, you wouldn't want your name... You know what I mean? So is there really an elite class? There's like a hidden elite Illuminati type shit going on?
I think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think that's like a valid type thought. You know what I mean? Because if I was rich, powerful like that, I wouldn't be in some... It would be Illuminati like. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be in the public eye. You know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't be... Yeah, it would be. I would definitely be on some.
And now the Illuminati are listening to our podcast.
It's like we have this little feed set up where it shows like who's listening live, and all of a sudden it's just like Illuminati has joined the chat.
Or like on like some type like like where it's kind of you can see the sound going in. You just see something weird blip. Like as soon as we mentioned a little bit,
an eye just appears on the TV.
Oh god, I'd be so scared.
Yeah, for real.
I
think we just hear.
Oh man,
dude, them ain't the Mormons. You know what I mean?
Oh god, we just like someone here just goes missing. So the next time we go to record, it's like, where's so and so? I don't know. It's just
you call his mom, like I haven't heard from him. He's gone.
You guys come here. My house is sold. I'm gone. Work hasn't seen me.
Work ain't seen me.
You guys are just like, I don't think he moved to the cabin, to the woods. I think we should just cancel this podcast.
Something's going on. Shit.
No, I think there's definitely an influence of a higher order, you know, and I mean, like, you could probably go crazy trying to find the quote-unquote root.
Who they are,
yeah. Who they are, when did they become a thing, you know?
That's why I feel like a lot of these conspiracies, it's like, if you want to really figure the conspiracy out, you get stuck in the circular thought. So I feel like you're either best off either just kind of either not even believing in it and just having it not even in your life as a thought, or just kind of acknowledging it as a thing and just accepting it and just like, but not trying to figure it out. You know, because I feel like it's the figuring out of the conspiracy theories where they kind of go wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, that's actually one of the points I wanted to make about them is, you know, there are things we might accept. You hit it with earlier with, like, they're probably listening, whether it's through our smartphones or, you know, and we just accept it. You know, we're not going into how do they do it, why do they do it, because then, you know, now you'll drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out, you know? But if you accept it, you're like, I'll accept it, I might not like it,
but I can deal with it.
I can accept it, you know, it's not going to hinder me right now in the moment, like, I'm not in danger or anything, so, you know, I can just accept it. I might not like it, but I accept the fact that they're listening to me right now. Siri's probably recording our whole conversation. Where it goes, I don't know, but, you know.
No, but do you think that you're better off doing that? Do you think that's the most optimum way to look at it?
Well, yeah, I mean, in the sense of this, like, I don't think you should play naive in this world, in the sense of, oh, I don't believe...
Ignoring dangers.
Yeah, ignoring dangers, because that's a dangerous way of thinking. I don't know if it's circulative or not, but if you just play naive of, like, they don't listen to us, that can't be real, you know, there's no way this happened, then, you know, it's a dangerous way of thinking, and it's so naive. Because
you're tricking yourself.
Exactly. Now, on the other end, there are people I do know who are into conspiracy theories who want to prove them and will search for all the evidence. But I'm like, I mean,
in a dark hole. Why would you want to be in that?
Yeah, hole? Now there's like a certain sadness to it. You know, like some of these theories we can go into probably have like
they make you crazy.
Well, let's just go into 9/11 real quick. You know, bottom line, a lot of people died that day. Yeah. You know, and no matter how we try to look into why it happened, why was the purpose, people still died on that day, and that's sad to think about. That's what we should be acknowledging. That's what we should be acknowledging as a day of mourn for those who died, because they didn't deserve to die. You know, so I feel like when you get too deep in the theories, maybe not the Bigfoot type, but like, you know, New World Order or all this art, you know, all this stuff that really relates to us in our day-to-day life, I think it just comes to a point where now you're just black-pilled, and you're just... Now you're just sitting there like nothing, you know, life is meaningless, you know, I'm not really free, you know, and I just feel like you should just accept the world for what it is. Don't be naive to what it can do, but just accept it and just try to make the best of it, you know? And there are sometimes things come up where you can make a change, you know? There might be a time where some congressman like stand up, be like, hey, look, we are listening to you guys. This bill is, if it passes, if everyone in the nation votes for it to pass, this will make it where we can no longer listen to you guys under any circumstance. And then that's when people can rise up and be like, yeah, we're tired of being listened to. Or like, undealing. It's just an example. It's just an example.
Yeah, I feel like that's the idea of that, though, is almost like the government giving up its own power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we know that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but that's just my point of, like, there are some times, though, where you can make a difference can come along to something that you might not like.
But you have to acknowledge it.
But you have to acknowledge that it exists, But
that's the best way to look at a lot of these conspiracy theories. Is like, if you're going to look at it and believe it, just accept it and then just, like, move on with your life. You know what I mean? But don't try to dig into that so deep that becomes...
They just lose
yourself.
Starts
to shape your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that theory starts to become the theory that you base your life on, or how you operate and how you govern your day-to-day living. You know what I mean? Based on this theory that you have about the world that you can't even prove because it's so deep and complex that it requires you can't even break it down. You know what I mean? I'm trying. No,
I think it's a good place to end it too. It's just like, no matter if a theory, I mean, there's some theories that are funny and ridiculous. There's some theories where it's like, oh, like this could change history. There's theories that are so complex, like we didn't even hit CERN trying to open...
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, CERN trying to open up dimensions to, open doors to other dimensions.
Wait, who?
We could do a whole episode about that. Alternate dimensions.
Alternate dimensions.
And how they came to be.
You know what CERN is, right? That is
It's the electron colliding... What is CERN? Are you talking about... I know there's the CERN, or is it it's the one where they trying to alter the weather? There's that one?
Well, CERN.
That's in, like,
what does CERN stand for?
And then I think there's the one where you're talking about. It's that underground colliding.
Yeah,
it's the big circle they collide.
The particle accelerator.
Particle accelerator. Yeah.
No, a lot of people theorize that it's to open a dimension. Some say the hell.
They're trying to open it,
but like
they're trying to like see about other dimensions.
Yeah, like I mean, for those who game and know about Doom 2016, a lot of people say the UVAC is based off CERN.
That whole
facility on Mars and how they were opening a portal to hell is based on CERN. Except we don't got no Doom guy going around. But
save us.
But there's whether it's a theory that's like I said, whether it's it's just funny, ridiculous, whether it's like, oh, this could be history changing, or whether it's something so complex you're just like, why would that even be a theme? I can't wrap my head around it unless I knew something else was real that I might not think is real. In the end of the day, it's all about just accepting what you can, knowing what's just, definitely too obscene. Like, there's really a race of pigs with wings.
What's too out there to even...
Yeah, what's too out there to just be like, come on now, like, where are we, But at the end of the day, it's all about just living life and making the best of everything. Yeah. We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. There's things the government probably wants to take away from us. And we just got to make sure we try to use our voice to be like, no, don't do that.
Swipe or no swiping.
Swipe or no swiping.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's all about just trying to live your life as best as you can. With, proper morals and, just don't be a dick.
My man.
Well, I think this is a good way to end it. Yeah. If you guys like this video, like it, subscribe to us. We do have an Instagram, we have a Twitter, we have an email. If you have any paranormal stories or
anything interesting,
really,
holla at your boys.
Anything.
If you have opinions, put it on the comments.
Conspiracies below. Of your own. If you just want to say hi. If you need any type of advice from us, I don't know what kind of advice we
Honestly,
give.
I think any views we get is like part of a government program to try and trick us.
What if like all our views is not actually like our family listening? What if it's the government like agencies listening? Like, these guys know too much.
We need to out exactly what they know.
Like, they're too dangerous. So any of that, hit us up. We'll try to post more on social media. I know the Instagram's been really quiet. The biggest part why, just real quick, is because we are wanting to make a website to be on Spotify and Apple, but we're just not quite there yet with getting a website up and running. So once we're looking to have that up where we can be on there, you'll probably hear from us more on social media.
We have a lot more content to be promoting.
Definitely make my job easier so I don't have to keep editing these videos.
Right? Do you think we'll do these live one day? Like, just on, like...
Why not?
Sure.
Does Joe Rogan and, like, other podcasters go live? Like,
yeah, I mean...
I think they have some episodes where they do live, but
yeah.
it's like, it's a thing when they go live. Like, it's not like an everyday thing. It's like, this is, like, we're going live. This is when we're going live.
I mean, I've watched some, I've listened, technically, to some podcasts where they... Or, you know, like, where they go to, like, this convention or something, and then they draw in large crowds just to watch them record.
Yeah.
I've seen on YouTube now, you can actually stream live.
You can.
You've
been able to do that.
Yeah, it's been a thing. People will just stream and just sit there and do whatever they... You know what I mean? Sit there and eat.
What?
Mukbang. You know what I mean?
Boomer.
Okay, Boomer.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, we'll do that one of these days. But anyways, I think that'll do it for this episode. Hit us up, like the video, you know the drill. This has been the Nightstalker Podcast. Good night, and Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.